So good afternoon, everyone. First, thank you for coming after 3 days of busy meeting, and hopefully you will enjoy this presentation. So here is the disclosure information. And first, the background. As we all know, heat processes has been widely used for many years. However, because of metal exposed in body fluid, corrosion has always been a big concern for this device. And nowadays, because of the popularity of modularity design, and many severe corrosion has been observed at the modular tapers. And the fretting corrosion has caused many failures of this kind of device. So first, let's talk about what is fretting corrosion and what is the voltage shifts during fretting corrosion, and why should we care about these voltage shifts. So fretting corrosion is a corrosion caused by cyclic motions between two different opposing phases. So the outcome of the fretting corrosion is that first, it will release metal ions and metal debris into human body. Moreover, it will cause a metal film abraded, and metal will be corroded, and electrons will be released by the corrosion reactions. And these electrons are the source of the voltage drop. So voltage drop is really a very important phenomenon during this process. It will change the passive film characteristics and also change the redox reactions of the alloy. And moreover, research in our lab have found that the voltage drop has killing effects. When the voltage value has been lower than a certain level, around 400 microvolts, the reduction reactions will kill osteoblast-like cells. And the voltage drop might also have other effects, such as it may be related to several diseases, such as postural tumors and osteognosis, because of it might affect the local biological responses. So researchers have found that voltage drop is area, fretting frequency, fretting node dependent. Although this phenomenon and concept has been known for many years, today there is very few systematic theories being proposed to explain why this voltage drop happens. And last year, Dr. Papageorgiou and Dr. Mishra has published a paper. They use a Tafel equation to explain this phenomenon. As we can see from the equation, the larger the cathodic area AC is, the smaller the voltage drop will be. This is a very nice explanation. However, there is no time course of voltage change talked about here. So here comes the goals of our study. In this study, we will propose an impedance-based theory, and we will use this theory to predict the extent and time course of voltage drop during fretting corrosion. And then we will conduct experiments to evaluate this theory. In details, we will evaluate the relationship between voltage shifts and the electrode areas, the impedance characteristics, and the fretting corrosion conditions. So first, let's talk about our theory. So in this theory, we assume the titanium surface behaves like a random circuit, which has 3 components, RS, RP, C. And if there is a voltage drop added on the surface, there will be IF, fretting current, occurs. So we can find the relationship of random circuit using the differential equation, equation 1. And for a simple case, if we assume the fretting current, IF, is a constant, we will get the voltage drop as equation 2 shows. And from this, we can clearly see that the voltage drop is related with the impedance values, which are RS, RP, C. However, these impedance values are extrinsic values, which means they are area dependent. So if we substitute this impedance and area relationship into our equation 2, we can get equation 3, from which we can clearly see that the voltage drop is area dependent. However, fretting current is not always a constant. Actually, it's a very complicated parameter. So from equation 4, which was proposed by Dr. Gilbert, we can see that the fretting current is related with several mechanical and electrochemical factors. And to simplify this equation, we incorporate fretting corrosion admittance, which is K value, as shown in equation 5. So the K value is dependent on material abraded area, anodization rate of oxide film, interasperity distance, and sliding speed. And we will talk about this later. So the key point here is that with this K value, we can get equation 6, which we can substitute this fretting current and voltage relationship into our differential equation, and then we can solve for the voltage drop from the differential equation and get equation 7. The solution from the solution of equation 7, we can see that the voltage drop is a function of the impedance values, which are RS, RPC. And as we have talked before, these impedance values are area dependent. So then we conduct experiments to verify this impedance and area relationship. So from the impedance test and analysis, we can see that as area increases, the capacitance, which is C, increases linearly. However, the resistances show inversely relationship with area. So then we conduct pin-on disc fretting corrosion experiments to see how the voltage differs for different conditions. So there are two groups of tests. For test 1, we choose area as a variable and fix our load and frequency. And for test 2, we choose fretting load and fretting frequency as variables respectively and fix our disc area. So here is a graph showing the comparison of voltage shifts between our theory prediction and our experiment. So from this graph, we can see that once the fretting starts, the voltage drops dramatically within a few seconds and then reaches a relatively stable level. And once we stop our fretting, the voltage recovers to its original open circuit potential. And from the comparison, we can see that our theory prediction matches the experimental data very well. And here are two graphs comparing the theory and the experiment data in terms of the voltage drop value versus area relationship and the time constant during voltage drop versus the area relationship. So from the left-hand side picture, we can see that as area increases, the voltage drop decreases as predicted. And from the right-hand side graph, we can see that as area increases, the time constant during voltage drop increases as predicted. However, there is one thing I need to mention, that the impedance values are not only area dependent, but also voltage dependent. So in our current theory, we haven't incorporated this voltage impedance relationship. So another interesting process is the discharging process during recovery. Once we stop our fretting, the voltage will recover. And we can, from the random circuit assumption, we can get equation 8, which describes how the voltage changes with time once the fretting is stopped. So the interesting thing here is that the time constant of voltage drop, which equals to RP multiplied C, is not area dependent based on our theory. However, from our experiment data, we found that between 3 different groups of areas, there are 2 groups shows they are statistically different. And we think this might be caused by the impedance and the impedance voltage relationship I have talked about before, which during voltage drop, the RP and C value might not change in such a way that their multiplied outcome, which is a time constant, is a fixed value. So then, for test 2, we choose frequency and node as variables. So from our theory, we can see that the voltage is a function of K, which is fretting corrosion admittance we have talked about before. So if we change the fretting node and fretting frequency, we are actually changing K. So if we increase our load, the delta, which is nominal interasperity distance, will decreases. And in equation 9, we can see that if delta decreases, the K will increase. So if we increase our fretting frequency, we will increase the delta dt, which is a sliding speed in equation 9. So either we increase our frequency or increase our load, the K value will increase. And from equation 10, we can see clearly that as K increases, the voltage drop will increase. So let's look at our experiment data. So on the left-hand side graph, we can see that within a certain range of load, if we increase our fretting node, the voltage drop during fretting will increases as theory predicts. And from the right-hand side graph, we can see that if we increase our fretting frequency, the voltage drop during fretting corrosion will increases. So to conclude, in this study, we have proposed an impedance-based theory and use this theory to predict the extent and the time course of voltage change due to fretting corrosion. And this theory shows excellent agreement with our experiment data. As area increases, the cathodic excursion decreases, and the voltage drop time constant increases. Voltage drop time constant, voltage recovery time constant is independent of area in our theory. However, our experiment data is different, and we think this is due to the impedance voltage relationship during the voltage drop of fretting corrosion. And last but not least, as we increase our fretting load and fretting frequency, the voltage shifts rises. So for our future study, we are planning to incorporate the voltage and impedance relationship into our current theory, and it's also interesting to see how voltage shifts differ for different metallic biomaterials, such as cobalt chromium alloy and stainless steel alloy, and to understand how they behave during fretting corrosion. And with this, I'd like to thank you the support of Medtronic and Strike Orthopedics for this research, and my special thanks to my advisor, Dr. Gilbert, because all these theory and models are from his original ideas. And if you have some questions and suggestions, I would like to hear and answer. Thank you.
Questions? Please identify yourself.
Mark Ahrensberger, University of Buffalo. Just a quick question as far as the initial voltage parameters that you've used. It seems like the predictions of your model fit quite well, even though you've not taken into account, as you said, the voltage dependency of the RP. So when you showed that first, the OCP, what are the initial conditions that you're using for solving that?
Actually, in our theory here, you can see the equation below equation 6. We have incorporated the open circuit potential effect, and the impedance values, as you have talked, they are changing during voltage change. So we have made the impedance test at the beginning of the fretting and during fretting and at the end of fretting at fixed voltage levels. And we choose average level between them because the impedance differs for different voltages. So that's how we choose intrinsic impedance values in our theory.
Thanks. Very interesting work.
Thank you.
Carl McMillan, Synthetic Body Parts. Is there some fundamental difference between your capacitance model on area dependence as opposed to what's commonly known about if you have an anode and a cathode and you increase the size of the cathode, you change the rate of the corrosion and everything because of probably the amount of electrons and so forth that can get into the area?
So could you repeat it? Sorry.
I'm wondering essentially what's the difference with the impedance model versus in terms of area dependence, in terms of what's generally known about changing the relative size of your components in corrosion sets.
For our theory, I think this theory is mainly focused on fretting corrosion. So basically, the underlying theory is the same. The current is the same. As you increase the area, the fretting current will get smaller. However, from this our impedance theory, we can quantify the numbers and get the exact values. I think that's the difference.
I have a question.
Tell us who you are.
Guigan Zhang from Clemson University. Interesting work. My question is, your formula still seems like dimensionless, or ignore this geometry shape. But in your actual specimen measurement, I would assume you have different shapes and all those. How do you account for that?
So I think currently we are using a two-dimensional concept, which is the we didn't consider if you think about the disk, we only think the vertical direction versus the disk. And in our future study, we are actually thinking about incorporate a three-dimensional concept into this theory.
We have time for one more if anyone's interested.
Greg Sawyer, University of Florida. Thanks for the talk. I had a question about whether or not you examined the surfaces after your experiments and if you characterized where or the degree of damage to the surfaces, and if so, what it looked like.
Yes, actually we have characterized it under SEM. So unfortunately, I didn't show the pictures here. And I think the degree and the situation of the fretting damage, I think they are similar to the first presenter shows, the SEM images. Like there are fretting scars and corrosion debris near the fretted area, and inside this one, inside the fretted area also.
Okay, let's thank our speaker again. Thank you, Yangping.